So welcome everybody. My name is Charisse. I work out of the Central Branch in Columbia across from the mall, and we appreciate you all joining us today. Our speaker today from Giant Nutrition is Josefina Huron, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her in a few minutes, but first a few housekeeping rules here. Please use the chat for any technical issues and use the Q&A for any questions. We will be taking questions at the end. As I mentioned, this session is being recorded. We also have a live transcript going, which is an automated transcript from Zoom, so there may be errors in the transcript. 6 steps to avoid chronic disease is being taught today by Josefina Huron, who is a registered dietitian, licensed dietitian nutritionist, certified lactation counselor, and holds a certificate in child and adolescent weight management. She received her Bachelor of Science in Dietetics from Florida International University and completed her didactic practicum at Virginia Tech. Josefina makes nutrition accessible to customers through classes, consults, and store tours. She is passionate about helping others live their best healthy life by meeting them where they are and empowering them to make healthy eating a fun part of their lives. She is driven to live new experiences and is ready to try different foods, travel, run a race, or go on a hike. I am so looking forward to this class. They are always excellent, and I will turn it over to you, Josefina.
Thank you, Charisse. Good morning, or good morning still. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I will be talking about 6 steps to prevent chronic disease. So for today's agenda, we're first going to start in the office and talk about those 6 steps. And then we're going to take it to the aisles and discuss different foods that will support your health goals. And lastly, we're going to take it to the kitchen. And in the kitchen, we'll discuss some tips for success at home. So for our first step, we want to, eat real foods. And what do we mean by eating real foods? Okay. So these are going to be foods that are coming from, the earth, okay? And they're going to be minimally processed. So things that are, when foods are processed, they're going to have added sugars and added fats, maybe added sodium. So trying to keep it as simple and balanced as possible. So having the foods, that are coming from the earth. With this, as well as when we're eating real foods, we want to think about my plate, okay, and balancing it all together. So if you see here in this plate, they have a protein, which is going to be the chicken, and then there have some vegetables and fruit, okay, the tomato as well as the leafy greens, and then you'll see the grain. So the grain here is going to be the quinoa. So trying to have a portion control and building that balance. If you follow the My Plate, that's definitely going to help to have that balance as well as that portion control. Because if in the My Plate, you'll see that a quarter of the plate is with grains, a quarter of it was with protein, and then half of the plate is going to be with those fruits and vegetables, that produce. So step 2 is just going a little bit deeper into building half of your plate with produce. So the benefits of the produce is that they are low calorie, so we can fill up on low calorie foods, as well as they're going to have a variety of vitamins and minerals. So a nice variety of different vitamins and minerals that are kind of the building blocks for our body. So they're really important so that everything in our body can function properly, as well as having antioxidants. So those antioxidants is going to help that for our immune system to stay stronger and kind of prevent oxidative stress. So the goal is to have at least 5 servings per day. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the 5 a day campaign, but trying to have, between the fruits and vegetables, a variety of five a day. And then we say aim for variety, which when we're talking about aiming for variety, we mean having a variety, like eating the rainbow. So having a variety of different colors, red, orange, yellows, whites, purples. Trying to have a variety of colors is going to allow for you to have a variety of those vitamins and minerals, because different colors have, have specific vitamins or minerals or antioxidants. Like, for example, orange is known to be good for our eyesight. So definitely trying to have a variety of colors. And then one question that we get very often is, what's better, right? What is better? Should I have fresh, frozen, or canned? And the truth is that all forms fit, all of them count. So the benefits of fresh is that typically, the taste is going to be fresher, crunchier, more crisp. And when we're buying fresh, we're also helping local farmers. Okay. But with fresh, one of the things I would say is to shop in season, because when it's produce is in season, they're going to be at a better price point. Whereas if it's not in season, chances are you might be getting, paying a lot more for it. For example, I have this classic example of a time that I bought grapes, and I didn't check the price until I got to the register, and it was $15. And luckily I saw that. I was like, oh, wait, I'm not gonna, just, keep, I told the cashier to keep that, because $15 for a bag of grapes was too much. And then I noticed, it's not in season right now. So if you're looking at things that are in season, you'll see that they might, for strawberries right now, you'll see that, you buy one, get one free. There's a time where it was like buy one, get two free. So it was like 3 for 1. So looking at those, what's in season, there are some apps for that, that you can get, or Google. Sometimes I'll just use Google and say, what fruits and vegetables are in season in July. And then you'll see, and then you'll kind of notice that at the store, they corresponds with the sales. Or when you enter in the store, you can look for the sales circular, the sales brochure. And there you'll see, kind of like what's in sale. Just recently, I saw that a pineapple was 97 cents. So that's just keeping an eye on that. And that's one tip for that, for fresh produce. And then frozen is always a great option. I love to have frozen fruits and vegetables, because if I run out of my fresh produce, then I always have backup in my freezer. And with frozen fruit, I love to use that for smoothies, or maybe making my own yogurt. If I have plain yogurt and then I have frozen strawberries, then I can make a strawberry yogurt. So it's always great for me, and to have like frozen fruit in the freezer. And then the same thing with produce. So I'm sorry, not with produce, with vegetables. So the nice thing about frozen vegetables is that they're already pre-cut and pre-washed. So some of that work is done for you. So it's like, if you need something that's quick and easy and convenient, that's where the frozen fruit can come in. And then with the frozen fruit and frozen vegetables. With frozen vegetables, I would use that with sauce, foods that I might have sauces with. So maybe like a pasta or soups, they go great with that. And then canned is also a great option to have, in your pantry. With canned, the recommendation would be to look for those low sodium options. And if it's not a low sodium option, rinsing it in water, running water, because by rinsing it, you're going to reduce the sodium content by 20 to 30%. So it's really beneficial to take that extra step just to reduce that sodium. And then if it's a fruit, the fruit, we recommend to do fruit in its own juice instead of syrup, because with syrup, they're adding extra sugar. And fruit is already sweet as it is. So just, keeping it in its own juice. The next step would be making it whole. When we're talking about making it whole, we're talking about grains. So this is going to be a quarter of our plate where that it's the grains. We want to try to make them whole grains as much as possible. So whole grains are made up of 3 parts. And in those 3 parts, okay, they have more nutrients. Okay, they're going to have that fiber and the protein. So definitely it's not stripped of that when it's made into like white bread or pasta. It's kind of refined and stripped of that. So these nutrients are actually, we found out that they're actually really beneficial. So we're trying to go back to its original form, which is going to be that whole grain. And there's great tools out there that will kind of help you to see, is this product whole grain, which is one of these stamps. These are the whole grain stamps. So if it has this in the front, it's kind of giving you the flag that it is a whole grain. And you can always check the ingredients. So looking at the food label in the back, in the bottom, you'll see where it says ingredients. And if you see the word whole grain, that's going to be a sign that it is a whole grain option. The other benefits of whole grains is that because of the fiber, it helps to manage our blood sugar. So this is great for everybody, not just a person with diabetes, but it's good for everybody because it's part of an overall health. So managing our blood sugars. Fiber also helps to control our blood cholesterol, and it also helps to keep us full longer. So having fiber in our diet is a huge benefit. So wherever you can find it and get it, it's going to be better for our overall health. And with protein, the benefit of having protein is that protein does provide us with energy, and it also helps with satiety. So satiety meaning that's going to help us stay full longer. So, it's definitely something that I know when I eat, I definitely want to feel satisfied and full and have that energy to keep going for the rest of the day. So this is a great way to be able to include a little more protein in our diets, that it's not just from animal products or so these are just another extra way to get a little more protein. And talking about proteins, so another step would be to pick lean proteins. So when we're talking about lean proteins, we're talking about the ones that are going to be have less fat and less saturated fat. So things like poultry, eggs, and fish. Okay, these are going to be our animal based. So those lean meats these are going to be our animal based proteins. And then we can also get protein from plant-based. So that's going to be things like beans, legumes, nuts, and seeds, nut butter. So if you like peanut butter, almond butter, any of those kind of butters, that's also a great source of protein. And you will also find protein in dairy or plant-based beverages. So milk, dairy milk naturally has protein, has an amount of protein, and not only in the beverages, but also in the yogurts. So you'll find yogurts that have protein. And with the yogurt, you have the regular yogurt, you have Greek yogurt and Icelandic yogurt. So the way that it's strained makes the Greek yogurt and the Icelandic yogurt have a higher amount of protein. So if you're looking for extra ways to get protein, looking at the Greek or the Icelandic yogurts would be an option. And then there are a lot of plant-based beverages and yogurts out there now for people who are choosing either, not to limit their dairy, or maybe they have an allergy or an intolerance. So there are a lot of nice options for these plant-based beverages. And then one of our other steps is to make sure, we are hydrating and to realize that drinks matter. So a lot of times our brain does not register our liquid calories, okay? So trying to limit the drinks that are high in calories. So, choosing water as our primary source of beverage, because our body does need 6 to 8 glasses of water. Sometimes it could be more depending on the activity level or the time of year, you know, in the summertime, that level can increase because we are, you know, sweating more, you know, releasing more water. And so that's really, really important. Make sure we're hydrating. And also our body's made up of 60 to 70% of water. So making sure we're staying hydrated is really important. And I will be sharing in another slide, you know, what are other options, but definitely water should be that primary source. And the funny thing is that I'm talking about water and my mouth is, you know, getting, I'm like getting thirsty, but that happens. So it's also super important, you know, as a good tip, you probably can't see it right here, but as a good tip is to have a water bottle with you throughout the day, because when you have a water bottle, studies show that you're more likely to drink more water, to hydrate more, because it's, you know, easily available, and you have that kind of that cue. So filling up your water bottle in the morning and drinking that throughout the day is really a great tip and tool to have. So here I just want to show, you know, a calorie and sugar comparisons of some, you know, products and how much, you know, sugar sometimes we are getting from these beverages as well as calories. So all of these, you know, I have a Coke, a Starbucks Frappuccino, and a Lipton iced tea. All of them are the same size. Each one is 20 ounces. And for the Coke, it has 240 calories with 65 grams of sugar. And if we think of that sugar, it's like 65 grams of sugar, what does that mean? But if we're looking at it in sugar packs, right, this is about 16 and a quarter sugar packs in just 20 ounces. So for that, the same for the same amount of calories is 240 calories. Let me use the laser point here. So for 240 calories, you can actually have 2.5 apples. Okay, so with fruits, you're not only getting vitamins and minerals and antioxidants, but it also has a water content. So you're actually able to hydrate with fruits and vegetables as well, because it does have some water content. And then with the Starbucks Frappuccino, this has 420 calories and 67 grams of sugar. So the sugar, its packet equivalent is almost 17 sugar packs. So that's, I mean, that's mind blowing when you kind of see that visual. And you can, you know, if you like mangoes, you can have 4.25 mangoes for that same amount of calories. And then Lipton iced tea. So with teas, teas can be a great option, but if it's already sweetened, then you don't really have that control. So this Lipton iced tea is sweetened. It has 170 calories. The sugar content is 45 grams. So this one's going to be, you know, 11.25 sugar packs. And you could have almost 3 oranges with that same calorie intake. So this is just like, you know, a small visual to see the sugar and calories that can happen, or that you can get from beverages very, very easily. And one of our, you know, last steps would be to keep moving. So movement is really important for our bodies, and it's part of that balance, that energy balance, energy in, energy out. And that energy in is the foods that we're eating, the nutrients that we're consuming, and the energy out is that activity that our body is doing. So activity is really important for our overall health, and the most important thing is to start wherever you are. The recommendation is to aim for 30 minutes of daily activity at least 5 times a week. But you know, the start is to start where you are. Whether that's, you know, if right now you aren't doing any activity, well, maybe once a week, even if that's 10 minutes, that, you know, with gradually including that as a regular routine and increasing that as you can, it's better than nothing. So definitely, you know, starting wherever you are and doing things that you enjoy. So there's so many ways of moving. If you don't like going to the gym, you don't have to go to the gym. You know, if you enjoy going on a walk, if you like to dance, you know, if you like to, if you have a dog and, you know, enjoy, you know, walking with your dog, doing activities that you enjoy. And so with that, I would like to see if any of you would like to put some of your favorite activities or movements in the chat box, just to see, you know, what motivates you or what you enjoy. Because in the end, that's the most important thing, is to do something that you enjoy, because then you're going to stay consistent with it. I've gotten the question, you know, what's the best form of activity? And again, that's going to be what you enjoy. With movement and physical activity, there's many benefits, not just for our body, but also for our mind. So studies have shown that, you know, it does help to kind of release those happy hormones, and it will help with our overall mental well-being. And then our body, you know, has those benefits of helping with our increase our metabolism, but it also helps, you know, with our sleep. So having a physical activity will actually improve our sleep. So let me just check here, see if anybody. So we have walking with the dog, walking outside. Yes, walking, you know, putting those steps. And nowadays there's the, you know, you can use the applications on your phone that will track the amount of steps, and, you know, kind of see which days you're having more activity or more steps. And sometimes what's really helpful too is to kind of form a buddy system. So maybe having somebody that helps you to be accountable, or that enjoys to go on a walk or do the kind of activities that you like to do. Someone that, you know, kind of will help you stay accountable and keep that buddy system together. So now we're going to go in the aisles to show you some of these foods that will go with the steps that we've talked about. So to start off, you know, looking at the food labels, I wonder how many of you use the food labels, how often do you use them? Is it confusing? Do you find it easy? If you want to put it in the chat box, you know, what do you think about the food labels? Any questions about the food labels? So with the food labels, I find that it's a great way to kind of get to know the product. If it's a new product for me, I will definitely be checking out the food label. It's kind of like knowing or getting, like it's like the resume of the product. Okay. Yeah. And then as I'm reading the chat, so find that the serving size is challenging to figure out between products. And then we have people looking for sodium and sugar. Okay, awesome. So yeah, the serving size, it's like if you don't have a measuring cup with you, it's very challenging sometimes, like, to know what these serving sizes are. In my mind, I know what a cup is, but then 2/3 of a cup. I mean, I think like a half a cup. So these servings can be kind of tricky. But definitely looking at the serving size is something that's important, because it's good to know that the nutrition facts are not for the whole container. It's for the serving size. So this container has 8 servings. So if you eat the whole container, you really have to multiply everything by 8. Okay, so that's where it gets tricky. So making sure that you're aware that the serving size is what all of the information that they're giving you is for the serving size. So if you're comparing between products and one serving size is 2/3 of a cup, but the other one is 1 cup, that does make it very challenging. So sometimes what could be easier is looking at the percentage of the daily value, and I'll go over that in the next slide. So something, things to look at is going to be the calories, and then nutrients to kind of keep an eye for is going to be the saturated fat, the trans fat, as well as the sodium, learning and knowing, what the carbohydrate is. And with carbohydrates, they've added something new to the food label, which is this added sugars. So before, we in the labels, we just had the sugars, but now they've included added sugars. And how I like to explain added sugars is by giving the example of white milk and chocolate milk. Normal white, dairy milk has naturally sugar, right? So you're going to see that it has 12 grams of sugar, and then it's going to have 0 grams of added sugar. But with chocolate milk, they've added the chocolate to it. So it's going to have not only the 12 grams from the, naturally that occurs in milk, but it's also going to have added sugar. So that's how that, that it's broken down. You might see things that have sugars because that is naturally occurring to it, but it's going to have like a 0 grams for added sugar because they haven't actually added sugar to it. It's just a naturally occurring sugar. So I hope I was able to explain that well. So that sometimes, can be the difference. If you see something that has sugar but nothing added to it, is because that's the naturally occurring sugar in that product. And then, like I mentioned before, looking for things that have protein is great because it's going to help to add to your satiety and also kind of giving you that energy. And then looking, if they have vitamins and minerals, because adding more vitamins and minerals in our, getting them naturally through the foods, our body is able to absorb it easier. So that's a bonus and a benefit there. And then with the ingredients is a great way to kind of know what is in this product, right? The longer the ingredients, sometimes it's it's like a lot of things. So the shorter the ingredient list, the better it is. And sometimes if you don't really understand what it's in that, what the ingredient is, it's probably better to kind of stick with ingredients that we know and we understand. So here is, I'm going to give you just a little deeper dive. A little deeper dive on kind of how to shop for heart health. And this one I like to show because it gives you kind of an easy tips and tools. So when we're shopping for heart health, we're going to look at that saturated fat and trans fats, because the saturated fat can affect our blood lipid profile, as well as keeping an eye on sodium. So the tip here is to keep that percent daily value at 5% or less. So if we look at this food label and we're looking at the saturated fat, this one has 45% of saturated fat for the daily value. So with 45%, that is going to be really, really high because we're looking for things that are 5% or less. So this product for saturated fat is very, very high. And now the same tip for sodium. So sodium has 40 milligrams and it has 2%. So this one's actually low on sodium. So this is going to be a low option for sodium, but that saturated fat is going to be really high. So maybe trying to find another product that it has less of that saturated fat. And then how I mentioned earlier, the fiber is something that we want to get more of. So fiber is under the carbohydrates and something that we want to get more of because of those benefits that it has with managing our blood sugar, also managing our cholesterol, helps to lower cholesterol levels, and helps with that, our feelings of satiety and fullness. So if it has 10% or more, I mean, that's excellent. That's a goal that we want to try to get. But any product, if it has even 1 gram, 2 or 3 grams, it's going to be better. It's going to be great. So those are good options if it has fiber. And for the ingredient list, trying to look for whole grains as well as a healthier fat like olive oil, and staying away from those hydrogenated oils that that are not great for our heart health. So I'm not sure how many of you have seen the best for me um, guiding stars, as well as how good. So this is a rating system that Giant has. So following the guiding stars is going to be the better for you foods. And this is a nutrition rating system that we have at the stores. So this kind of helps to kind of put all of that guesswork out of, is this, you know, a healthy product or not. If it has a guiding star 1, 2, or 3, those products are going to have, you know, those vitamins, minerals. They use credits and debits, so they give them points for having fiber, for having healthy fats like omega-3, for having vitamins and minerals, and they take points away if they're high in saturated fat. They take points away if they have added sugars and sodium. So if you see these guiding stars, that's an indicator that you're choosing a healthy product. And then for how good, this is an environmental impact rating system that we use, and they're given different points and credits as well. And if you see that it has 1, 2, or 3 leaves, you can have, you know, be confident that these are going to be products that are good for the environment. And this is how you can spot them. You can either see them in our own brand products. You'll see them on the product, but most of the time you'll see them on the shelf tag labels. If you can see here, this oat milk has 2 stars, and then this Italian blend has 3 stars. Have any of you ever seen the guiding stars before at the store? Or how good? I know for me, it's something that I didn't know before, but once I learned about it, it definitely catches my eye when I go to the grocery store. So here, just I have a little activity, just kind of to touch base on the tips that we provided. So on that 5% tip for the daily value, would you say that if this product is high or low on saturated fat and sodium? So what do you think about the saturated fat and sodium on this product? So I'm just going to repeat that again. So for this product, looking at the saturated fat and the sodium, do you think this is high or low on saturated fat and sodium? Yeah. Yeah, awesome. So if we're looking at the percent daily value, you know, this one for saturated fat has 2%. It's only 0.5 grams. So this is going to be on the lower end. So that's actually good. And then if we look at the sodium, 65 milligrams, that's 3%. So that's under 5%. So it's actually good as well. Just wanted to point out that they're using they're using unsaturated fats like polyunsaturated, monounsaturated. So these are actually healthier fats. They're good for our heart. So those are, you know, they're using these healthier fats to give it that flavor. It does have some fiber. It has 2 grams, which is 7%. They're not adding any sugars to this, and it has some protein. That protein is coming from the whole grain. Okay, the grain that they're using here is corn. So whole grounded corn is actually a whole grain, so that's a good option. Another thing that I would like to point out is that the serving size is 9 chips. So I don't know how many of you count the amount of chips, but 9 chips is not that much. So always, you know, the thing with chips is that once you start, you can't stop. So what I like to do or recommend is, you know, pairing it. So pairing it with a healthy fat or a healthy protein. So if you pair it maybe with hummus, or you pair it with guacamole, or even with salsa, so you're pairing it with produce. that would, you know, kind of help to kind of maybe stay within those 9, the serving size, and then also feel satisfied and full. And it also increases the amount of nutrients, the variety of nutrients that you're getting, because not only are you getting the whole grain from the chip, but then you're going to get vitamins and minerals from sorry, from the produce that you might use, or from the healthy fat or that protein. So that's just, you know, one of our tips here, is to kind of pair it so that you have a healthier snack. And so aiming for half, this is going to be half produce. So these are some of, you know, some of the helpful options, because they are quick and easy. If you want to share on the chat, you know, what are some of your favorite produce, or how do you like to fill up half of your plate? But I actually love to have, you know, sweet peppers, because they're a quick and easy snack, so that you could just wash them and they're good to go. And you know, otherwise you can just chop them up and include them in a salad or in a recipe. And then I highly recommend having some kind of greens, because it's, you know, a great way to kind of fill up half of your plate with a salad, and quick and easy way. Personally, I love to have like spinach or kale, because for me, I find them to be more versatile. So not only can I make a quick and easy salad, but I can put them in a smoothie. I can throw them in a recipe, you know, if I'm making pasta or soup. So I find it to be pretty versatile by having spinach or kale available, and I find that they last longer. And so yeah, the beets, if you like beets, this is a great option, because they're already cooked and peeled. And then carrots, you know, also, you know, those are quick and easy. So these are just some examples. I'm just going to take a quick look at the chat, see what we have. Sauerkraut, that's one of my favorites. I love sauerkraut. It's great to put it in you know, to enhance other foods. You know, I like to put it in a sandwich and salad, or just have it on the side. I do see a comment that I do want to address. Something about regarding the stars. If I don't see any, maybe I need to look at a totally different food. So I will have to give the caveat that if the food doesn't have a star, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a healthy food. Some foods that you know, are healthy might not have a star, because maybe they have a little more fat. So I wouldn't totally dismiss it, but it is a great guide that if you see the star, you can guarantee, you know, feel confident that it is healthy. But if it doesn't have a star, I wouldn't totally dismiss it. You know, just read the food label. So sauerkraut, I see the question about sauerkraut and its health benefits. So sauerkraut does have probiotics, and probiotics are, you know, healthy food for our gut. And there are many, you know, a lot of research out there on the benefits of having, you know, health foods with probiotics, just feeding our gut, keeping our gut microflora healthy. So sauerkraut is one of those, just like yogurt. And I did want to, you know, mention how I earlier talked about frozen fruit. So here and frozen produce. So here are some examples, you know, maybe using mixed berries or some of your favorite vegetables. You can freeze them. And when you are looking at those, look at the food label and just kind of make sure that they aren't adding any extra things. Sometimes you have some of these frozen vegetables where they add sauces, and if they're adding sauces, the sodium content is going to go up, and it's possible that also the fat content. So here you'll see that this is just vegetables. If you look at the ingredients, all it has is broccoli, green beans, sugar snap peas, carrots, celery, red peppers, water chestnuts, and onions. So it doesn't have anything other than vegetables, which is exactly what you want to get. And you can see that in 1 cup, you have 35 calories. So it's very little amount of calories for, you know, a nice big chunk. And this doesn't have any fats, cholesterol. It has a small amount of sodium, which is great. It only has 1%. It has, you know, that dietary fiber, no added sugars, and it has, you know, small amount of protein, comes naturally from these vegetables, and some vitamins and minerals. And right now, our nutritionist handpicked is Bowery. So Bowery is one of our vendors that they are local. So they are a local vendor. And if you haven't tried their produce, it is really, really fresh and crispy and delicious. They have, you know, a variety of like leafy greens like the spring mix and baby butter, but they also have herbs like basil and cilantro. So I, you know, highly recommend for you to check it out. And as you'll see, they have 3 guiding stars. And then making it whole. So just to have an idea of what are some of these whole grain products. You can have a great variety of whole grain products. You can, you know, still have bread and just choosing it to be a whole grain option like Dave's Killer Bread. If you like, you know, chips and crunchy things, then like the one I showed, like corn chips or tortilla, corn tortillas would be great, as well as popcorn. So popcorn is considered a whole grain. And then corn tortillas, because, you know, corn is considered a whole grain. There are options for pancakes. So if you enjoy pancakes, you know, all foods fit. Pancakes can be a part of this healthy, balanced eating. Option would be, you know, to make it a whole grain. And with Kodiak cakes, they're also adding protein to it. So I know when I have these, I definitely have this fullness and the satisfaction because of that protein from that they are adding to it, as well as the protein that you're and fiber that you're getting from the whole grain. And if you like oats and oatmeal, that's also a great option. Okay. Anybody have any other maybe favorite whole grains that I might not have mentioned? You can just add it to the chat. And then picking a lean protein. So also a great variety of different proteins that we can have. Just so that we see that there are a lot of options out there when you're trying to, you know, eat balanced and healthy. So the bottom here, I have pinto beans, but really any variety or any beans or lentils is a great option for a lean protein. Not only are you getting that protein, but they're also really high in fiber. They're a great source of iron as well. So if you're looking for ways to get iron, they're also a great source of iron. So you get a bang for your buck here with beans. And then another option for grounded meat could be switching from, you know, grounded beef to maybe ground turkey or ground chicken. One recommendation is if if that's too noticeable of a difference, you could always mix some of the ground beef with a little bit of the ground turkey until, you know, we get our taste buds to kind of adapt to that. So a huge variety, as well as canned tuna. So the great thing about canned tuna is that it's quick and easy, and it's a lean protein. It's a great source of protein. And some of them already are coming with flavors. So if you're looking for a quick and easy snack, or maybe a quick and easy lunch idea, these are great options. And then here, you know, you can have boiled eggs that are already pre-cooked. You know, if you're looking for something convenient, they're ready. You can purchase these already done, but otherwise you can make them at home. You can boil a couple of eggs and they will stay in your refrigerator, for 3 to 5 days. So it's something you could do ahead of time if you want to have it as a snack, or maybe included in your breakfast or in a salad. So those are all great options to keep lean protein. And then here in the corner, I'm going to save the best for last, is the rotisserie chicken. And the rotisserie chicken is a great option for those days that you might not have the time to cook, or you're looking for something quick and easy. So you can have it just as it is, or what I love about it is that you can use it as a base for other recipes. So maybe sometimes, if I'm making enchiladas, or if I'm making a burrito, or if I am, making a pasta, like this is a chicken that I can add to it, or even just with a salad. So great way of using the rotisserie chicken, especially for those days that you might want something quick and easy. Okay, and finally, lastly, we're going to go in the kitchen to kind of bring it all together at home. So when we're building our plate, we want to keep my plate in mind. So again, going over half of our plate with produce, which is going to be that fruits and vegetables, and a quarter of our plate with grains. One thing I would like to mention is that there are starchy vegetables, and those starchy vegetables are going to go in the grain section. So things like potatoes or sweet potatoes, corn. So these are going to go into the grain section. And then we have a quarter of protein and the option of dairy. So here are some examples. In the middle, you have the traditional kind of everything in its own section. You have the fruit, the vegetable, the grain, and the protein. But it can look different for everybody. Just my plate can can look different for every different household. So just making knowing that having a balance and a variety, it really has to depend on what your food preferences are. And then I did want to share some of the drink options that I had talked about earlier. So water, again, being that primary source, because our body is made up of 60 to 70% water, but there are also other options like seltzer water, as well as teas. So, you can have warm, hot teas or cold teas, brewing it and then putting it in the refrigerator or putting ice in it. The great thing about teas is that there's a lot of varieties. There are many of them that have like maybe a fruity flavor or like ginger. Some of them, with kombucha, so it's like good for your gut. So I would say if you haven't had teas, definitely explore and try different flavors to see which ones might be a favorite for you. Infusing your water. So if we're getting tired of plain water, you can squeeze lemon or lime into it, put some fruits or maybe herbs like mint or basil. Those are options to kind of infuse and jazz it up a little bit. Kombucha, if you haven't tried kombucha, has anybody here tried kombucha? But kombucha is a fermented tea. And so this is also going to be good for your gut. Not everybody likes it. It could be an acquired taste. And for me personally, I had to try different flavors and brands to find which one I liked, because I didn't like it from in the beginning. Also electrolytes, so maybe some restoring sports drinks. Right now, if you're doing a lot of sports and in the summertime where it's way hotter, we might be sweating a lot more. Coconut water is a great option. And then maybe low calorie sugar, low calorie and low sugar smoothie and shakes could be a healthy option as well. But with that caveat, looking at that sugar content and also the calorie content. So these are some inspirations, some ideas. And this is one of my favorite teas, is the Passion Berry Jolt. It's very fruity, and has no sugar. And then I would always love to share our Savory Magazine, which you can find for free at the store, but you could also get it online. So at giantfood.com/savory. And then here I'll show you the benefits of it. So what I love about it is that if you have an idea, if you want to make, I don't know, tacos or a chili or some kind of pasta or rice, you could just type that into the search and it'll do the nice little search and come up with a good variety different recipes for you. And if you go to the advanced filters, you can actually choose guiding stars. So if you choose the advanced filters and go under guiding stars, and you'll see has 1, 2, or 3 stars. You select those, so it's only going to bring you recipes that are going to be, lower in calories or fat and sugar. So it's going to be on some of those healthier options for the recipes. So I highly encourage you to check it out. So this is going to be at giantfood.com/savory. So for some of the next steps, and this is something we could totally help you with, either individually or in some of our group classes, is to plan our meals and snack. Planning really helps us to, kind of be successful, and as well as your physical activity. Having a plan in place, kind of helps you to be accountable with yourself. Like here says, plan equals success. And so we do have meal planning classes and online grocery store tours. And you can find that information at giantfood.com/nutrition. Here you'll see a list of all of our nutritionists as well as the classes we offer. You could also check us out at Healthy Living by Giant if you have Facebook. I highly encourage you all to join our Facebook group where we share a lot of recipes and inspiration. And if you're into podcasts and talk radio, we also have a podcast, and our podcasts are short. They're, shorter than 20 minutes. And we have a huge variety of topics. I'm sure you'll find 1 or 2 that will be interesting to you. So the name of our podcast is Nutrition Made Easy. And that is all for today. If I'm going to be here for some questions, and thank you so much for participating.
Thank you so much, Josefina. I learned so much, and I definitely want to try that Bowery salad mix. I don't think that it did in one of the previous nutrition classes. That looks delicious. So please, everyone, post in the Q&A, or even the chat is fine if you have any questions for Josefina before we finish the webinar. It's interesting. I heard recently that a lot of times when you feel hungry, you're actually just thirsty. Is that something that nutritionists agree with?
That's interesting. I would say making sure, you're hydrated is important, but our hunger, I feel that, being in tune with your hunger and fullness cues is important. And because then you'll know, is this true hunger? Asking yourself, having a schedule as well. If you're typically have breakfast at a certain time, lunch and dinner, then you'll know, is this really true hunger, or is this maybe boredness, or is this thirst? So staying hydrated throughout the day would really help. But I would question where that's coming from, if hunger is really, because thirst feels different from hunger.
I just thought it was an interesting thing somebody said, especially now in the heat, where you can get really thirsty and maybe not realize it's because you just really have not been hydrating. You talked about the Greek yogurt and the Icelandic yogurt. Are there differences in the health benefits between those two?
The only big difference is the protein content, but they both have probiotics. So they, all of the yogurts have probiotics, and the real difference is that protein content. The other difference, of the sugar content, or that is going to be based on the ingredients. It's going to be, that is dependent product to product. But the biggest, difference is that the protein content.
I'm wondering too, on these products like, Dave's Killer Bread and the Kodiak pancake mix, if you're making items at home, such as pancakes, where does that additional protein come from? If you're making your own protein, your own pancake batter, for example.
Great question. So if you're making your own, pancake batter. You could add some whole grains by using, whole wheat flour, as well as like oats. And then by adding oats, you add a small amount of protein as well. And you can also use like flax seeds or chia seeds, which have protein in it. Or you can use like grounded nuts or seed, like peanuts. So if you have nuts, walnuts, peanuts, or something like that, and you grind it or you put it in a blender, then you can add that to the mix, and that's going to help increase that protein content.
Thank you.
You're
Do we
welcome.
have any other questions? I'm looking through the chat here to see if we have any other questions. We're really glad you joined us today. I did put a link for the survey
Oh, thank you.
in the chat, and so please do fill out the survey after you finish attending the webinar today. I also posted the link to the Next Giant Nutrition class. On Friday at 11, we will have trends in plant-based eating, so check that out. We will not be sharing the slides per se, but this class is recorded. So I would expect no later than next week, I will be able to post the class to our Howard County Library System on-demand YouTube channel. I put the link for the nutrition playlist in the chat. If you put Howard County Library System in as your search term on YouTube, you will come to our YouTube channel. There are so many different playlists there for children's classes, adult classes. We have a whole playlist for health and wellness, which includes the Giant Nutrition classes. We also have job and career. So definitely check out our YouTube channel. I'm just making sure we don't have anything else. A lot of thanks for the great class, which I totally echo. And, we're coming to the end of our hour. So I think we'll sign off here and just tell everybody to have a great day, hydrate, definitely check out all the healthy foods that our presenter shared with us today. I definitely am looking forward to checking out some of those things. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today. Have a great week, all.
You too.